Welcome to this segment of Good News You Can Use. I'm Jeff Wolfe, your reporter. Thanks to the Good News Network, goodnewsnetwork.org, we have gotten word of a 93-year-old World War II veteran in the United Kingdom that has, this happened during the Great Shutdown, during the pandemic, has been revitalized in his life, using his words, not mine, because he got a chopper motorcycle style motorized vehicle. It looks like a chopper, and he's a long-time motorcycle rider. When he was younger, rode motorcycles. He fought in World War II for the United Kingdom, and here he is at 93 years old, riding around on a chopper style mobility chair, and just having the time of his life. And he was quoted as saying, at age 93, this makes me feel like I'm 43 again. It's just amazing to have that kind of impact on people by bringing innovations to them and by people reaching out and helping them connect with that. It was a charitable donation that made that happen, where people banded together and made this possible for him. More good news you can use.
Hello, this is Dr. Karen Wilson Starks, President and CEO of Trans Leadership Incorporated, host of the Voice of Leadership podcast, and your good news reporter. So, what is the good news? The good news is that even in the absence of a coronavirus vaccine at this time, there is some treatment of promise, and it's called convalescent plasma therapy. So, those people who have had the coronavirus and have recovered from it, many of them have the antibodies in their blood plasma. And if that blood plasma is donated to other people who are suffering from the coronavirus, they too can recover. So early on, when New York City was heavily hit by the coronavirus, it was the Orthodox Jewish community, in particular the Hasidic Jewish community, that was really hard hit. That community is very close-knit. They have large families. They live in small apartments. And before all of the warnings about the coronavirus were actually disseminated, they were celebrating a major Jewish holiday called Purim. So many people gathered together. As a result, many in the community contracted the coronavirus. And fortunately, many also actually survived the virus. So Dr. Michael Joyner from the Mayo Clinic, he contacted the rabbis there and said, would your people be willing to donate blood for the possibility of saving other lives? So within 3 to 4 hours, they had donated 1,000 units of blood and put that blood on a private airplane and flew it to the Mayo Clinic. Fortunately, 60% of the samples actually had the antibodies, and those donations were used to heal other people. And today, more than half of the blood plasma donations in the United States are actually donated by the Jewish community. And not only are those donations going throughout the United States, donations are also being sent globally for research and also to heal others. So Rabbi Yehuda Kazira, one of the things that he said is that this is a godly mission. And Dr. Israel Ziskin, a pediatrician, he said, we don't just care about ourselves. We care about everyone, and we will do what we can. Isn't that wonderful news that people who are even going through their own challenges are still willing to reach out and to help someone else and to donate this life-saving blood plasma with the coronavirus antibodies? So I'm Dr. Karen Wilson Starks, President and CEO of Trans Leadership Incorporated, host of the Voice of Leadership podcast, and your good news reporter on Raven International TV Network.
Hi everyone, my name is Grainne Toher. I'm founder and director of YogaPal and Still Mind. So I wanted to talk to you today about the COVID crisis and what we can do to protect ourselves and maybe even thrive during this challenging time. So we hear a lot in the media about the new normal. And in the media we also hear a lot about crisis and pandemic. Those are words that are very much part of our common language these days. So just what is the new normal? Well, for many of us that's not something we can really determine. Our lives have changed utterly, and in some cases may have felt like they changed overnight. For many of us it's working from home, relying on Zoom and other web camera technology to function, to maintain our relationships, even to maintain our businesses. We may not be meeting our family members if they don't live with us, or are connected with our friends. So this new normal it's quite different to anything we've experienced before. And our reactions to it, they vary. So I've spoken to clients of mine and we're all reacting in a very human way to what's going on around us. We may be running through a myriad of emotions, from fear to relief, from sadness to gratitude. But these are all incredibly human emotions and we need to allow them all. There is no particular way to be. These are unprecedented times. So whatever you're feeling right now, that is the new normal. And then how we manage that is what determines our contentment and our happiness in our day-to-day lives. So there are things that we can do inside this so-called new normal as we work through the pandemic and work through the COVID environment, and it's a changing environment. So I'm recording this in Ireland and we've only just discovered what the new phases of living are going to be over the next few months. And on a phased basis, businesses will return in terms of their, I suppose, how they're considered essential to daily life for our population. So that's all still being figured out and still being worked out, but we have a basic sort of a framework for that right now. But while that's still becoming a reality, there are things that we can do every day just to support our own contentment and happiness and our own self-care so that we're better for those people around us. So in terms of practical things, something I do every day, or most days, would be to keep a journal beside me. And this is part of my mindfulness practice. I keep a journal beside me so I can do a big brain dump of the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that are going on with me. And it gives me an ability to remove myself from becoming those things. So I can remove and act in a more neutral way so that nobody's getting hurt or affected around me. So journaling how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what sensations are arising, what fears are going on, takes you away from maybe the power or the sting of those. And that you act in a more, I suppose, sane, measured way as you go about your daily life. So that I can't emphasize enough the importance of that journaling. And then once you've done that big brain dump, put the book aside and go and have a walk, or even sit outside and just get a sense of nature. And if you are walking, many of us are limited to the amount of kilometres we can travel, and we're limited to keeping a certain amount of distance away from each other. So suggesting that you follow those criteria, but get outside and just get some time where the brain can actually get space to deal with what's going on right now. So as you've done your brain dump, you've gone out for your walk or you've sat outside, space will become available within you to find clear-cut answers for the next steps that you should take. As well as that, I really advocate getting into a type of breath awareness practice. So this is common among mindfulness practitioners. So on a regular basis, maybe once in the morning, once in the evening, and all the days, they probably feel like they're running into each other. We don't know yesterday from today, from tomorrow maybe sometimes, but it's a really good idea to actually create a little bit of a routine if you can. So again, that journal is important, and the stepping outside, going for the walk is important, and also just doing that breath awareness once or twice a day. And it allows you some space again from being ambushed by thoughts. So connecting to the breath just gives your mind something to do other than overthinking. And maybe not everybody's overthinking. Some people I talk to are really enjoying this time, connecting back with books they've read. And I have to say, I'm in books they wanted to read for a long time but put off, or rewatching old movies that they've forgotten about that they really enjoyed. And even just sitting down and taking up maybe a hobby. Again, we don't have to do any of these things. These are things we might choose to do now that we have a little bit of extra time in our hands. I know not everybody has extra time. Some people are managing children and homework as well as their own working remotely, their full-time jobs. So I think it's important right now that we are practical about what we can do, what we can't do. And that brings me into going back to the journal and identifying the controllables from the uncontrollables. And in this moment, we have probably a lot more uncontrollables than controllables. And that's putting us into that adrenaline response. So many of us lived on the adrenaline response since the big, I suppose, news of this breakout of COVID came in March. But I would suggest that you find a means of listing out your controllables, and they may be small, and it may be just, confined you to your routine and some practical thing that you can do as you let the uncontrollables unfold around you. But that's something practical you can do. Identify what you can control and then forget about the rest and leave it up to the gods or whatever you might believe in. So the importance of that routine. Another thing that's very, very helpful, and I find this really, really helpful from a mindfulness point of view, is just sit and just become aware of the body. So you can sit in any chair, make it as comfortable as possible, correctly adjusting for your height, so the feet are touching the floor and the spine is held by the chair. And you can bring yourself mentally, body part by body part, up through the toes, all the way to the crown of the head. And doing it slowly, doing the left side first and then doing the right, will really bring you into the now. And now is all we have. When we future trip into what might be, how things are, how things might be in the future, and what we don't know and what we can't control, that's when the adrenaline response comes back in. So it's advisable, where you can, just to really, think about how can I create the relaxation response in my life during this time. And sometimes that can be as simple as, I'm going to keep it in the day today. I'm not going to think beyond today. And that might be, I'm not going to think beyond this morning. I'm just going to think about this morning, clear away everything I have to do, and then enjoy the afternoon. So just slowing down and allowing yourself that space just to be and be in the moment. And again, that body scan will bring you sensorially into your physical body, your tissues, your bones, the feeling of the clothing around your legs, your skin, your arms and your torso. And really just bring you into the now. And again, we don't know what the future holds. Another great tip I can give you is try to limit your radio consumption. And it's something I have to watch myself because I'm a bit of a news junkie, but turn on the radio and you will hear the word crisis be probably at least 50 times per hour at the moment. Again, that's the stuff that brings you into the adrenaline response, where we believe that we have to fight and flee and be frightened. We don't. We just have to take care of now. So in terms of trying to make this a positive time, I suppose I've already mentioned, taking up a book you promised you'd read and allowing yourself that time for that, finding a new hobby, and maybe reconnecting with old movies. And something that's happening, the phone had been a very underused device from the point of voice calls for the last number of years. That's really coming back. We're making phone calls because we miss voices. So as well as our Zoom calls, we're actually phoning people because we want to hear their voice. That's really quite nice. So maybe reconnecting with old friends. That might be a nice way to bring you into enjoying old memories, but into the now and where people are right now. Yeah. So how do we make this positive? Again, we're in a tough situation. There's no point denying that. We don't know what's going to happen with our jobs, with our families, with our careers. We have no idea. But to make it positive, we can each day take out our journal and look back over the day and just say to ourselves, one nice thing happened to today. What was it? At least one. And if we close the day with that, we've had a good day. We can reflect back and think of one nice thing. We all had one. We might have had bad news, we might not have got the news we wanted. We all have at least one nice thing that happened that day. and just hold that thought. So making this time more mindful, this is a good time to practice mindfulness as a practice. So we're being forced into now because we don't know anything about the future except this, I suppose, mild idea of phased return to normal life. And again, normal life probably won't look the same as it did before. So being mindfully aware of that, we can continue that practice after this is all over, of checking in with the breath every day, checking in with the body every day and starting to scan from the toes all the way up to the crown of the head. We can keep our journal, and our journal as an ongoing practice is going to give you that power of being the observer, of removing yourself from overwhelm, of removing yourself from the emotion of mixed emotions. So mixed emotions can create that conflict where we're acting out. So this idea of journaling and scribbling down what you feel, what you think, lets you look at it and gain more perspective. And with that perspective, it's much easier to plan because we're in that relaxation response. We can plan better, we can intuit better what are the right actions for us. So this is a great time. Let's not deny it's not a tough time, it's a challenging time. We are, our friends are getting sick, there are people dying, but there has never been a better time to really come into the now and enjoy the now. So my name is Grainne, and it's been terrific to be here with you today and share some of my thoughts and ideas and practices around COVID. Stay well and stay healthy and stay safe, and find some new ways just to be mindful and enjoy this time. We'll probably never have this time again, hopefully not, but it's been a time for us to meet our challenges with some level of gratitude and an ability to mindfully live through them. Have a fantastic day.
Hey guys, it's Fraser Ramsey from the Ramsey Unleashed Going Beyond Borders podcast. Big thank you to Claudia, Santiago and Raven TV for the invite to do a video inspirational content. I am from Edinburgh, Scotland. As you can see in the background, there's a sort of tower behind me. This tower is in the base of Camel Estate in Edinburgh, not far in the outskirts of where I live. I was born in this area. But to inspire people, the message was to inspire folk through this current times of COVID-19 and what's been going on. So I recently interviewed Claudia on my podcast and talking about we brushed up on talking about the scenario of this current time. Now, it was probably a major shock to the majority of us, and a major shock when people have lost jobs. People are just not able to go to work or can't work, but maybe still be getting paid. There's a mixture of scenarios, and especially from people being furloughed. I mean, furlough, when did we ever hear that name, furlough? We've certainly heard of new words and of ways regarding being on lockdown. And when did we ever think, starting 2020, that the whole world would be affected by a pandemic? So I'm standing here to inspire you to say, well, it is as somebody who's self-employed and being busy all the time, it's not easy to go from being busy to half busy. So I come to you to sort of say, well, you are going to have times of struggle, days when you're just not sure what to do with yourself, not sure how to really get motivated, not sure how to get started. Now, if you look at this tower behind me, this is a very old tower. This tower will still be standing for many, many years to come, probably before, as I say, after my lifetime, and maybe for longer. This is kind of this heritage until it ever gets knocked down or it's unsafe, but I don't think it will. You can rebuild anything. We will lose a lot, and many have lost during this time of COVID-19. So, and we're just something we'd never have expected. And I stand here. Sorry, I'm getting flies all over the place. I apologise. But you could ever imagine that we would be in this time, especially in our lifetime, but we are. So if you're having to think, how can I reinvent myself, or how can I redevelop myself in some way or form to what I've lost? How can I create? And it's not easy to be great. There's some people are very academic, some people are very practical, and you maybe don't have the certain skills, but you can do anything you really want to in life. I left school at 15 and a half with no qualifications. I've always been more practical and learnt. It's not easy, but sometimes you'll learn faster doing the practical rather than being academic. Now, people might disagree with that, but the practical skills does come into very great uses. So I'm trying to talk and down to a 10-minute video here, up to 15. It's quite a lot. So I can talk on a podcast, but when it comes to trying to do it for 10 minutes. But what would I try and say is, look at your surroundings, look at what you can do, look at your skills. Now, I challenge you. Now, I was challenged in 2002 when I used to do retail work all the time. I thought I could do a supervisory job or a manager's job. I felt I could do it. And it took my mentor to tell me, go and clean the toilets. And I went, why would I want to go and clean the toilets? But I was told to go and clean the toilets. And I went to clean the toilets. I got a job in the hospital cleaning, and I was cleaning the toilets, and I did them well. And by cleaning the toilets and learning, I went to be a nurse's assistant. I did some other work, and eventually, through time, I started self-employed and tried to dabble into events, which wasn't easy, and that kind of thing. But eventually, through circumstances of a death of my mum, I decided, what can I do? Cleaning. And it took me to do that cleaning to start a cleaning business. And now almost 11 years self-employed, running a cleaning business, building up. Now, if you're willing to get your hands dirty in life, you can do anything. If you're willing to just do something to bring in money, because money at this time is better than no money. I don't care if it's $10, £10, $10, $50, £50, whatever you're bringing in for whatever you're doing, it's better than nothing. And I know sometimes you might think you're too proud to do the work or do some of this hard work just to get your hands dirty. You think you're better, but don't let pride stop you from going forward, because you can do it. It doesn't happen overnight, but you can do it. But if you're willing to go to the bottom and climb again, you'll get the things that you deserve. You get the things that you feel that you deserve because you've worked for it. You've earned it. So standing here, I'm finding it difficult. You get days when you get your demons, and you feel that the things that trouble you or have happened in your past will try and bring you down. And I stand here to say, yes, you will have days when you have to fight them, because you've got time on your hands and you've got time to think. And if you're used to being on the go, and always on the go and doing things, it's not easy, it's hard. But see this, you can either be a strong tower, or you can be a ruin. There's nothing wrong with starting again in life. There's nothing wrong with just reinventing yourself. You can always learn. Doesn't matter how old you are or where you are. There is work out there. If you can't find the work, create it. Create the work, find it. You can easily create it. Think of things, connect with people. Look at people in business, look at ideas, chat to them, have a conversation. 5-minute conversations will do you no harm at all. I'm just standing aside here, apologies for the break. People are cycling past me, so apologies for the interval there. Just take a very quick pause because people are cycling past. So as I say, yes, if you can rebuild what you're doing, and look at what you can do. You'd be surprised at what you can find out, the skills that you do have. So as I stand with the Camel Tower on Camel Estate behind me, think about what you've gone through in your life. Think about the areas, the experiences you've had, and I ask that you look at how you could help others by inspiring others through through your life experiences. Don't be shy. You can do it. Find your voice. There's people who have gone from being shy to introverts and just not being able to share their thoughts, have actually stepped out of their comfort zone to become somebody. So I stand here and say, yes, I've found days I've been struggled, and you get days where I need to you have to snap yourself out of this horrible darkness that you're in when you've got not much to do during this time of lockdown. We can't really go out to the cinema, we can't go out with friends to a restaurant because they're all closed, we can't do the things that we want to do, we can't go to the gym, but you can go for a walk. Have it even go for an hour, a walk somewhere in your neighbourhood. A walk can clear your head. It does help you think. If it's a nice sunny day, it does help. It really does lift. It gives you that lift that you need to move forward during this time. Just think about it. Think of the plans that you were thinking of. 2020, you were thinking of plans to move forward in your life and think, this is what I want to do for this year, this is the goals I've set, this is my vision board, this is where I'm looking to go to and reach for. So I recommend, just because those plans haven't happened then, I will say it doesn't matter, it's maybe not be the right time, because we never know, Hey guys, it was just I had a slight phone call, so you try to record a video and you get a call during it. As I was saying in life, I think during this time, to uplift you and support you, utilise what skills you have and the things and challenges you've had in your life to help others. Because when you see others being helped through what you've gone through in your experiences and going forward, it gives you inspiration to do the same. I just had to walk down the road slightly. You're seeing I'm in a field, just standing in a field, so you get the vision. You get the Gayle Toher behind me again, kind of up there. But you'll always fall down in life. There's nothing wrong with that. It's tough, but to inspire you, and there is always hope, and you can move forward. It's not easy. We've all gone through our own demons, our own struggles in our life, and I say this to reach out to somebody. Just look at LinkedIn, look at people around you in business and have a chat. It takes 5-minute conversation. Think of networking, think of stuff, think of things around you that you can do to support yourself. There is help. You might find it's difficult, but just think outside the box. It can't always be easy and get out of your comfort zone. So just to sort of say, don't give up during this time. We will get through this. It's not going to be easy. I think it's because if you're used to travelling all the time and used to doing stuff and always on the go, you can't do that at the moment, but it will pass. You will be able to do that. There might be some restrictions, but these restrictions will get better. But I believe that this is happening for a reason. There's a reason why we're in this stage now. This is happening. Not only whether you're a believer or not, I believe that this is happening for a reason. So I would recommend that we are going through these times for a reason, to either recharge, reinvent ourselves. It's something is happening. So we can only, whether it feels bad, we can only do, when it feels bad, we can become better at it for the next stage. Next year will be better because of what we've lost this year. You will lose to gain in life. So my inspiration to you is just reach out to somebody reach out to somebody you can chat to, reach somebody in business who can help, just wants to listen, who can maybe give you that advice or just that guidance to give you that where you might want to go in life. So I am Fraser Ramsey from Ramsey Unleashed, Going Beyond Borders. My business is Edinburgh Dusters. I've been running a cleaning business for nearly 11 years. So just to say thank you to the opportunity from Raven TV and Claudia Santiago. I met Raven, I've known her through Blab, a platform a long time ago. I just want to say thank you. But this is, hey, don't give up. You're going to have times when it's bad. But when you get a nice day like this, come out, take a walk. It clears your head. It may not be the warmest, it might be cold, but just get into the fresh air. It does you a world of good. Because you can bury your head in the sand, but you ain't going to go anywhere. So I highly recommend you can do this. You're going to feel you can get back up. Have a conversation. Conversations take 5 minutes, can lead you to so many great opportunities without you realising it, and can open many doors. So don't feel all the doors are locked. You can keep doing it, and let's do it. Do it together. Anyway, this is Fraser. All the best from Edinburgh, Scotland. Take care. Speak to you soon.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Calhoun, host of the Humble with a Hint of Kanye podcast. I was asked to come today to talk to you guys about different things that I have going on with my life. And I would like to start with the Great Shutdown. I was on a trip where I was partying with over 500 people in the middle of March. And when I came home after our trip, everything is shut down. We had to do the social distancing. We weren't supposed to go outside. And if we did, had to make sure that we had our PPEs or like something to cover our face up, gloves if you had them. And you go from living a life normally to trying to figure out how to do things a little differently. Now, I'm one of those weirdos. I happen to be an outgoing introvert, so I love being around people, but I also need time to be by myself. So initially, when I was reading all the guidelines and things and trying to figure out how to do it, I was okay with it. It's like, I have no problem staying at home by myself. I love being home by myself. I'm one of the greatest people that I know. I entertain myself a lot. So it was really easy initially. But there's also a part of me that doesn't like being told what to do, and realizing that I couldn't spend time with my friends and family, it became a little overwhelming. So when it first happened, I had some house guests. It was a single dad and his 2 young kids. And I got to spend time with them, but I also stayed in my room a lot. Once they were gone and I had my place back to myself, there was a part of me that was extremely excited about that, and another part of me that started feeling the isolation. And I'm a very social creature. I'm a huge hugger. If you can't tell, I am. And going from 20 to 50 hugs a week to 0 hugs, it was like going through withdrawals. And not just the hugs, but just the connection that I have with people and some of my friends. I call them my tribe. And being able to figure out that not only how to adjust to that and to figure out how to go about and finding things to keep me sane was extremely challenging. I didn't realize it until maybe 2 weeks in that I was depressed. And once I realized I was depressed, I started thinking or figuring out ways to combat my depression. So one of the things that I established for myself is finding a new normal, where I had a certain routine where I would get up and do things because I didn't have to go to work. Because again, as an actor and a model, I basically, all the production companies and everything, all the jobs I had lined up just got canceled. And so I didn't have anything to do. And so I spent the first couple of weeks just eating and watching Netflix, and I love binging. There's so many different shows and things I like to check out. And I was listening to a podcast, and the podcast talked about taking advantage of this opportunity that we have. We're coming towards the end of the Great Shutdown to a certain degree. Things are starting to open up again, so there's going to be some restrictions, but we'll start kind of finding like a collective new normal, if you will. But before then, the person on the podcast suggested that if you don't take advantage of this time that you have for some kind of self-improvement, self-development, that you just basically wasted a golden opportunity. So one of the things I started doing, I started taking care of my health. I don't like to work out. as you can see. That's not my forte, but I started doing it anyway because I wasn't getting outside. I wasn't getting any vitamin D from the sunshine. And here in Southern California, it's always a perfect day out. Even when it's not, it really is compared to other parts of the country and other parts of the world. So I started working out. I started eating a little healthier because I have to cook for myself. And I tell folks that I don't really know how to cook, but I don't starve, obviously. One of the things that I started doing, just whenever I woke up, I'm a nocturnal creature by night, so my normal is to be up really late. And especially now I don't have to go to work. I usually go to bed when I hear the birds start chirping in the morning. And so instead of beating myself up and trying to stick to a strict schedule, just being gentle with myself. So whenever I come to, I get up, I started meditating, I started praying, and doing daily readings. So I started reading, I started doing that, and I work out in the morning, and I gotta work out before I eat, because if I eat first, I'm going to take a nap later, and then the workout just goes away. So that's for me. That's how I do it. And what I also started doing is started reaching out to people. It was such a blessing reaching out to people, especially with my family. It's not a huge family, but I have 4 siblings, and I haven't been doing the best job as their older brother, kind of making sure everybody stays in touch. So that was one of the things that was part of my, I don't want to call it a mandate, but something like I wanted to make sure that I did. And so I did. I started a couple of group chain texts with my different family members, and it's led to such amazing connections and opportunities for growth and for healing. One in particular, I have a son who's in his 20s, and we're estranged. And not because of anything that I did or wanted to do, but it was his choice. And I was sharing this story with my sister about the moment he was born. And she asked me if he knew that story or not. And I assume he did, because I told the story numerous times. But just in case, I recorded it. I made an audio message, and I sent it to him. And I check in with him at least once a week, just send him a text saying that I love him, that I was thinking about him, saying things like that. And every now and then he might respond, he might reply. So I send a message to him, the audio message, and it was about 5 minutes long. And about 6 minutes after I sent it, he responded, sent me a text. And we had a very good healing, cathartic moment in exchange. The beauty of being your authentic self. I shared that story with my youngest brother, with a couple other good friends. And when they heard the message, they told me that it really triggered some things going on with them. And with my youngest brother, he basically got to tell me a lot of things that he was afraid to tell me before. And it was some things that he told me that weren't true, that I thought was true. And he told me that he was resentful of me. And not because of anything that I did, but because of the pressure that our family put him under because of me. Like he was constantly living in my shadow, and he became resentful for it. And it was so beautiful to finally have that out of the way and to be able to build and connect with him on an authentic level. If nothing else comes from this, that alone is worth it. And there's so many other opportunities. There's so many other ways where when I was depressed and didn't realize it, someone would check in with me just to see how I was doing, see if I was okay. And I would do that for other people. And sometimes I would sit in bed all day, and that's all I would do was just text people or talk to people. And then I started getting really tired of being in the house. And I started looking forward to just going for walks or going to a trip on a grocery store. And it's so mundane because before the Great Shutdown, going grocery shopping was one of my least favorite activities. And now it's become a weekly thing that I'm happy about or like excited about doing. Like, who's excited going grocery shopping? This guy right here. And getting to see other people's comfort levels in terms of being around other people and the precautions or non-precautions they're taking has been extremely valuable. And is also very telling because I have some friends who pretend that COVID's not real. And then I have other friends who feel like this is worse than Ebola. And in a way, it kind of is, but that's another story. One of the things that I decided to do, taking advantage of this time, is to go, copy that. So one of the things I decided to do, because I am an adventurer at heart, I love to travel, I decided that I was going to take a grand adventure. It's a long story, so I'll give you the short version of it. My best friend's ex-boyfriend has a motorcycle that he's not using anymore. So I decided I was going to buy it. The motorcycle's in Florida, and I am here in California. So I've been thinking about it for months. And when his name came up again, I decided to take a chance. Now, something about me that most people don't know is that I get a lot of anxiety when I travel places. I really feel comfortable when I have a home base, and when I'm at home, then I feel much more comfortable exploring the world. And when I travel, I also realize that once I get settled in, like get a hotel room or find out where I'm staying, things like that, then I'm okay. But there's still a lot of anxiety for me when I travel. So I decided, instead of sitting back at home, that I was going to take a chance. I was going to push through the fear. So I bought a plane ticket, and in the next couple of days I'll be flying to Florida, and my plan is to ride the motorcycle back to California from Florida. And coincidentally, all my siblings live along the route. So I have family in Florida and Georgia and Texas and Northern California, and I plan on visiting all of them. Now, what's interesting for me was that they're not as excited about me coming over there as I am to go see them. And it didn't dawn upon me until a few days ago when one of my brothers informed me that I can't stay in the house with them unless I'm willing to stay 2 weeks in quarantine, which I don't really want to do that. I don't think I could afford to do that anyways. So I'm very excited about this opportunity. I'm very excited to basically see this beautiful country of ours. And I'm also a little anxious because I'm going with the time of this pandemic. And depending on what state, what county I'm in, they have different restrictions. So it might be some that everybody's staying home, and it might be others where everybody's outside and doing business as usual. So it's going to be an interesting trip. I'll keep you guys posted. This is Lawrence Calhoun, host of the Humble with the Hint of Kanye podcast.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Gayle Carson, known as Dr. Gayle SOB, Spunky Old Broad. And that's exactly what I am, a spunky old broad. And that's my website, spunkyoldbroad.com. We're all here now to give you new ways of looking at what we're going through right now. I can tell you right now, as I record this, I'm going into my 9th week of confinement. And some of you might be saying, well, how can you not be depressed, or how can you not be angry, or how can you not be all these things that you're hearing about? First of all, I'm very lucky. I don't get depressed. And that's amazing, because if you knew some of the things I've gone through, you would say, how can that be? But I believe that every day is a great day. You've got to wake up with a smile, go to sleep with a smile, and all day long, you've got to be doing the things that you really love to do. Now, I have an advantage. I've got 2 cats who may come in here at any moment, but they're what keep me really sane during these times. They're lots of fun. They're also a lot of aggravation, but they're who I love, and I really adore them. My family is not with me because they don't live near me, but I'm in touch with them, and I talk to them almost daily. But there are a few things that I really think you should know, because I think it will help you get over some of the things that you're feeling or going through. Number one, of course, I believe in positive thinking. I think it's all up here, how you handle what you do, how you do what occurs, because we all have all these crises that happen all the time. As a matter of fact, you may not realize this, but we all experience 100 abrasive incidents a day. That's normal. Now, we may be experiencing a little less or a little more because our situations have changed, but in a normal day, when you are out, when you are at work, when you are doing all the things that you've normally done, it is at least 100 a day. Now, it could be running out of gas or being on a low gas tank because somebody drove your car. It could be because you went in to get something to eat at the refrigerator and somebody got there before you did. It could be that somebody says something horrible to you at work and you internalize it all day long. And of course, there's nothing you can do about it, but you sure get everybody else involved in it because you say, I can't believe what she said. I can't believe what he did. So that's going to happen to you. And that means there's a 3,000 abrasive incidents happening to you every single month. And so what you have to look at is, how am I going to respond to this? Am I going to let it bother me, or am I going to do something that gets me out of this funk? So you need to understand we all experience these abrasive incidents, and it's not so much what happens to you that matters, it's how you deal with what happens to you that matters. So that's why, as a matter of fact, one of my kitties just came in now while I'm talking to you, and I petted her, and now I'm back to you again. But the positive thinking and understanding that these things are going to affect you and stress will occur because of this is something you need to understand. But you also need to know where stress comes from. Stress comes from high demand and low control. Now, the high demand you're going through right now is stay at home, wear a mask, wash your hands for 20 seconds, 6 feet of separation. Those are, things that you don't want to do necessarily. But remember, there are things that are being told to you, but you can control this. It's up to you to follow the rules. And if you don't, well, stress results because things can happen. So stress results from high demand and low control. And too much stress gives you burnout. And that's why so many people are going kind of bonkers right now, because they don't have a way to counteract all of this. Now, I have to tell you, I get up in the morning, and of course, the first thing I do is play with the cats, feed them, take care of the kitty litter, all of that. And then I eat myself. I have breakfast. Then I work out for an hour. Now, I'm a big workout person, and I'm not a youngster, as you can tell. So I do it because I know if I didn't do it, I wouldn't move. But it also relieves any anxiety that you could have. It also helps you keep moving and keeps your body in shape. And it also gives you the energy to get through the day. Now, normally I do a longer workout than an hour, but since the gyms are closed and I'm in my apartment and that's the only place I have limited it to an hour. So I do that. Then I, of course, go in and take my shower, and then I get on the computer, and I am just like you, zoomed to death. And I always have, it seems like, all these meetings at the same time. I'll have 3 at 12 o'clock, and I'll have 2 at 3 o'clock, and I'll have another 5 at 5 o'clock. But there's not one at 10 or 11 or 12. They're all at the same time, and I have to make a choice. Which one do I want to listen to? Which one do I want to pay attention to? And which one is important for me as a person and also for my business? So all of these things are going on while, we're trying to keep that positive viewpoint of everything. Here comes my kitty again. Let me just show her to you so you can see. There she is. That's Ellie. She'll be 2 years old tomorrow. And I love her to death. So anyway, that's what we're going through, part of it. But you also have to be able to say, I love you to you. In other words, my mom many years ago said to me, you have to be able to look in the mirror and say, I like you. And if you can't say I like you, you can't like anybody else. So I hope you like yourself. I hope you like who you've become. I hope you like the person that you are. I hope you like how you treat people. I hope you like what you've chosen to do with your life. I hope you like the profession that you're in. And by golly, if you don't, now's the time to change. If you're out of a job, now's the time to say, what is it I really want to do with my life? Because this is your chance to do this. Oh, Ellie's is back again. As you can see, this always happens, but I love her to death. So what are you going to do? The other thing that I want to talk to you about too are the coping mechanisms that you have. Now, my coping mechanisms are exercise. I've already told you that. They're also Ellie, and she has another friend, Dylan, who's my other chocolate point Siamese. I love him to death, but he's 12 years old and he's getting a little old now. But he's my other baby. And I play with them. And then I also read for new information and relaxation. And I know there are people out there that say they don't like television. I love television. And so about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, that's when I kind of go in, turn the TV on, pay attention to what's going on. Don't watch news shows. Do not watch news shows because I don't want to put that in my head before I go to bed. But I do watch some of the different series that are on and so forth. So I do that, and then at 11 o'clock, I'm out. That's it. And then I'm up the next morning, depends on the day, 6:30, 7:30. And that's how my day goes. But the point is that I'm doing the things that I love. And that's the difference in having a wonderful day. Do what you love. Now, I know there's some of you out there that have to do what you have to do to make a living, to survive, to pay bills. And I know you're going through, you know what, right now. But it's going to come back. The only thing is, if you have a chance now to change, now's a chance for you to look around and say, what is it that I really want to do? I mean, that makes such a big difference. And I can't tell you how important it is for you to think about all the positive things in your life. Because, I have to tell you, I do have a family. My husband has passed away, but I do have a family. I have a couple of children. Actually, I had 3 children, but one passed away. I have now I have my 2, and I've got a granddaughter, and I've got 2 great-grandchildren. So I have family. They're not near me, but we talk and we communicate, and we kind of can FaceTime each other and talk with each other. But now I'm not going anywhere. I was a person who flew all the time. I have over 4 million miles on just American Airlines. Now I'm not flying at all, and I have put all my trips on hold until the end of the year, and I'm doing everything virtually or not at all. So the whole point of what we are all saying to you during this time is think positively, think good thoughts, think about who you want to be if you're not there yet, think of the things that you want to do that you haven't done yet, think of all the people that you've connected with so far. Who have you been in touch with? I know I've been calling friends almost daily that I haven't seen or that I grew up with, or that are not with me locally, that I can say, how are you doing and what's going on, and is there anything I can help you with? And they're so happy to hear from me. And I've connected again with so many of them. And I just want you to be able to do the same thing. So there's just a whole bunch of things, that you could be doing to take advantage of who you are and what you're doing and all of that. I just want you to have an advantage to all of that. So I wanted to make sure that I talked about certain things so that you would be aware of them. One of the other things that I wanted to mention was smiling. When I was a little girl, my mother always told me that I should smile. I know you know that my mom was a big influence on me. And I want to tell you something. My mom lived till she was 99 and a half. And she was feisty till the end. She always was telling people what to do. She was always managing people's lives for the better. But she always said, Gayle, always smile. And I remember when I was a little girl, I got off the bus with her. I think I maybe was 5 years old. And I got off the bus with her, and a guy came up to her. And it wasn't like, now it might be a little bit freaky. But back then, he said, I just had to come up and say, how you 2 wonderful ladies, he called me a lady. I was all of 5 years old maybe. What a beautiful smile you have, both of you. And I've never forgotten that. And most people know me for my smile. They know me for my energy. I do have a lot of energy. I do have a lot of, energetic space around me. But smile. You can't grit your teeth when you smile. So it's really important that you smile. It's very important that you greet people. And this is another thing. People say, well, we're not going to shake hands anymore. Maybe not. Maybe you're just going to bump elbows. But the point is, nobody can take offense when you smile. When you smile and say, so nice to meet you, and they understand why you're not shaking hands anymore, that's a part of this as well. So that's something I wanted to make sure that I talk to you about. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is having a sense of humor about things. You know, being able to laugh at yourself first, not at anyone else, but laugh at circumstances, laugh at situations. Sometimes I'll be watching a television show and I'll just laugh myself silly. I also laugh when I see some of the animal, you know, things that they show on TV, that they do these crazy things and they're so cute. And so, you know, what is there that you can laugh about? What is there that you can take pleasure in? What is it that you can say, wow, this was really terrific and I had a wonderful day? So important. And your energy speaks miles about you. It speaks to who you are and how you are. And when you meet people, you know, enter a room, when you do get to enter a room again, enter a room with energy and vibe and enthusiasm and a smile on your face. And I have to tell you something else. My neighbors have been wonderful to me. I opened my door one day and 24 rolls of toilet paper were there. People were cooking for me in the building. I live in a condo building, and they were cooking for me. I didn't ask them to do that. Just today, I was talking to one of my neighbors. We passed as we were up and down in the elevator because I went to get my mail. And I don't know, I was telling her that I get my groceries now through Instacart. And she said, well, how do you like them? I said, oh, I like them. I said, but I sometimes leave something off that I think I ordered. And I was telling her I needed milk. I didn't have any milk. Well, guess what? Last night, 9 o'clock at night, she knocked on my door and there was a bottle of milk. I mean, they've been wonderful to me. So I don't even know them that well. I didn't even know this girl that left me all this toilet paper and milk and everything else. But now I do. And my neighbor who's cooking, I saw her at the gym in the building, but we weren't friends. But she got my number from the management office and called me and said, you know, I'm making this or I'm making that. Do you want some? I mean, that's wonderful. So when you think about, you know, what's going on in the world, there's some really, really great people out there. Yes, we have, of course, people who are helping us so much, the hospital workers and the grocery people and the postal people who are getting our mail to us, and all the people, you know, our garbage people, all the people who are helping us, who are doing their part. But there's a whole bunch of other people that we don't even know about who are looking out for us as well. And I would never have known that had this not happened. If this whole situation had not been, I would not have had these people doing these wonderful things for me. I'm also getting Meals on Wheels, and they are good. I don't cook. So I was having to shop for groceries and, of course, and put them in the microwave and so forth. These meals are healthy. They've got vegetables and a starch and a protein, and they're great. They're wonderful. So I know that I'm a spunky old broad, and I know I'm able to get through a lot of things. But for those of you who have immune systems that are compromised, I just want you to know, so do I. I'm going through right now my 4th case of breast cancer. I'm on chemo right now, but I have not let that defeat me. I have not let that get the better of me. I keep going no matter what, because it's up here. So when we talk about positive thinking, when we talk about all of these things, they're a part of who you are, they're a part of who I am, and definitely we want to make sure that, you know, we know about them and we're taking part in them. And Miss Ellie just wants to be part of this too. And she says, here I am. Why don't you pay attention to me? So I hope that you've enjoyed these messages that we're all giving you. And I really hope that this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you. And I want you to feel that way. This is the opportunity to reinvent yourself, reinvent who you are, reinvent what you do, reinvent how you do it, if that's what you want to do. If not, great, but the most important thing is smile, the positive energy, all of the things that are going on around you, and dealing with, things like my cat jumping up in the middle of all of this that I wanted to do so nicely for you, and just saying, well, hey, Mom, I want to be a part of this too. So have a wonderful, wonderful time. Enjoy the messages from all of my friends and my cohorts who are doing this with me, and know that I wish you only the best. This is Dr. Gayle, SOB, Spunky Old Broad. That's my website. Thanks so much.